One of the most powerful spiritual secrets that can completely change your life forever is something so simple, yet so overlooked that most people walk right past it every single day. This life-changing method doesn't need any special tools, expensive courses, or complicated rituals that take years to master. It doesn't require you to meditate for hours, burn incense, or sit in uncomfortable positions. The power I'm talking about lives right inside your mouth, flows through your voice, and shapes your entire reality through the exact words you speak every single day. Think about this for a moment. From the second you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, you're constantly speaking. You speak to yourself in your mind. You speak to others around you. You speak about your problems, your dreams, your fears, and your hopes. But here's what most people don't realize. Every single word that comes out of your mouth is either pulling you closer to the abundant life your soul is calling for, or it's pushing that beautiful life further and further away from you. For example, if you want to live in true abundance, if you want to experience the flow of money, opportunities, love, and joy that your higher path has waiting for you, then you need to speak like someone who already lives in that abundant reality. You need to use the same words, the same tone, the same energy as a person who has already merged with their higher path. But if you keep speaking like someone who's struggling, someone who's confused, someone who doesn't have enough, then you'll keep struggling and wondering why nothing ever changes in your life. Most people do this backwards. They wait until they see abundance in their bank account before they speak abundantly. They wait until they feel confident before they speak with confidence. They wait until opportunities show up before they speak like someone who attracts opportunities. But your higher path doesn't work that way. Your spiritual abundance doesn't follow the rules of the physical world where you have to see something first before you believe it. In the spiritual realm, which is where your higher path exists, you must speak your truth first, and then watch as reality rearranges itself to match the words you've been speaking. This is why some people seem to have everything flow to them so easily, while others work hard but never seem to get ahead. The difference isn't luck, talent, or even hard work. The difference is in the words they speak every single day. Your words are like seeds that you plant in the spiritual soil of the universe. When you speak words of lack, struggle, and limitation, you're planting seeds that grow into more lack, struggle, and limitation. But when you speak words that match your higher path, words of abundance, gratitude, and spiritual truth, you plant seeds that grow into the beautiful, abundant life that your soul knows you deserve. If you don't learn to speak in harmony with your higher path, if you don't understand how your words are creating your reality every single day, then you'll stay stuck in the same old patterns forever. You'll keep experiencing the same problems, the same struggles, the same disappointments, and you'll wonder why nothing ever seems to change no matter how hard you try or how much you want things to be different. The first spiritual truth that will change everything for you is this: if your words don't change, your life won't change, period. Your external world is always trying to match the internal world that you create with your words. Every complaint you speak, every doubt you voice, every limitation you declare out loud is an instruction to the universe about what kind of life you want to experience. Think about the last week of your life. What have you been saying most often? Have you been speaking about how hard things are, how you can't catch a break, how money is tight, how nothing ever works out for you? Or have you been speaking about the abundance that's flowing to you, the opportunities that are opening up, the way your higher path is unfolding perfectly even when you can't see all the details yet? Most people speak their problems into existence without even realizing it. They wake up and immediately start talking about how tired they are, how much they don't want to go to work, how stressed they feel about money, how nothing ever goes their way. Then they spend the entire day speaking these same kinds of words to their friends, their family, even to strangers. They speak lack to their spouse, struggle to their children, and limitation to anyone who will listen. What they don't understand is that every single one of these words is like a prayer, like an order they're placing with the universe. When you constantly speak about not having enough money, the universe hears that as your request and keeps giving you experiences of not having enough money. When you always talk about how hard life is, the universe assumes that's what you want and keeps making your life hard. But here's the incredible news that will change everything for you. When you master this speaking method, when you learn to align your words with your higher path instead of your current circumstances, doors will open that you never knew existed. Opportunities will start flowing to you from directions you never expected. Money will begin appearing in ways that seem almost magical. The right people will show up at exactly the right time with exactly what you need. This isn't positive thinking or wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. This is how the universe actually works. Your words are not just sounds that disappear into the air. Your words carry energy, intention, and creative power. When you speak, you're literally using the same creative force that spoke the entire universe into existence. But here's what you need to understand, and this is where most people get stuck. Mastering this sacred speaking method means you have to stop speaking the way you've always spoken, even when it feels natural, even when it feels honest, even when everyone around you is speaking the same old way. You have to be willing to speak truth that you can't see yet, abundance that hasn't shown up yet, and faith when everything around you looks like reasons to doubt. This requires courage because you'll feel like you're lying at first. When your bank account is low, but you start saying, "I am abundantly provided for," part of your mind will resist. When relationships are difficult, but you start declaring, "Love flows to me easily," your old patterns will fight back. When opportunities seem scarce, but you begin affirming, "My higher path is opening doors everywhere," doubt will try to convince you to stop. This resistance happens because your current way of speaking has been creating your current reality for years, maybe decades. Your words have been programming your subconscious mind, your energy field, and your spiritual connection to keep giving you more of what you've been speaking about. So when you start speaking differently, everything inside you that's comfortable with the old reality will try to pull you back to the familiar patterns. Most people give up right here. They try speaking positively for a few days or maybe a few weeks, but when they don't see immediate changes in their physical reality, they go back to their old way of speaking. They think the method doesn't work or that it works for other people but not for them. What they don't realize is that spiritual change happens first in the invisible realm before it shows up in the visible world. Your words are working even when you can't see the results yet. Every aligned word you speak is shifting energy, opening pathways, and preparing the way for your abundance to manifest. But if you go back to speaking lack, struggle, and limitation before the physical changes appear, you stop the process just before your breakthrough was about to happen. This is why so many people stay stuck in cycles of almost having what they want, but never quite getting there. They speak abundance for a while, then speak lack when things don't change fast enough. They declare their higher path for a few days, then go back to complaining when life throws them a challenge. They affirm their spiritual truth in the morning, then spend the rest of the day speaking their fears and doubts. Your higher path requires consistency in your speaking. It requires you to stay faithful to your spiritual truth even when your physical circumstances haven't caught up yet. It requires you to speak like the abundant, blessed, guided person you truly are, even when everything around you looks like evidence that you're not abundant, blessed, or guided. But when you stick with it, when you make sacred, Speaking a daily practice instead of something you try occasionally, the results will amaze you. You'll start noticing small changes first. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will begin appearing in unexpected places. Solutions will come to problems that seemed impossible to solve. Money will start flowing from sources you never thought of before. Then, as you continue speaking in alignment with your higher path, bigger changes will start happening. Career opportunities that are perfect for you will open up. Relationships will improve, or new, better relationships will come into your life. Your intuition will get stronger, and you'll find yourself in the right place at the right time more often. Health issues will start resolving. Creative ideas will flow to you. Life will begin feeling easier and more joyful. The key is understanding that your higher path is not just about getting more stuff or having an easier life. Your higher path is about becoming who your soul came here to be, expressing your unique gifts, and contributing to the world in ways that bring you deep fulfillment. When your words align with this higher version of yourself, everything in your life starts aligning too. If you're truly ready to step into the abundance your soul is calling for, if you're tired of staying stuck in the same patterns year after year, if you want to finally experience the flow of blessings that your higher path has been trying to deliver to you, then this is exactly what you need to hear right now. But before we go deeper into the specific words and phrases that will change everything for you, I need to ask you something important. Are you really ready for your life to change? Not just ready to learn something new or hear some inspiring ideas, but actually ready to do things differently than you've been doing them? Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just information that you can collect and add to everything else you know. This is a practice that will require you to change how you've been speaking for years, maybe your entire life. It will ask you to say things that feel strange at first, to declare truths that you can't see evidence for yet, and to speak with faith when everything around you looks like reasons to doubt. Most people say they want their life to change, but they're not willing to change the daily habits and patterns that created their current life. They want different results while continuing to do the same things they've always done. They want abundance while speaking lack. They want opportunities while declaring limitation. They want love while focusing on everything that's wrong with their relationships. True change, the kind of transformation that completely shifts your entire life experience, requires you to be willing to feel uncomfortable for a while. It requires you to speak words that don't match your current reality, because you understand that your words are creating your future reality. I'll also share the exact daily speaking practice that completely transformed my spiritual journey and still guides me today. This isn't something I learned from a book or heard from someone else. This is a practice that came through my own direct experience of learning to align my words with my higher path and seeing miraculous changes happen as a result. Years ago, I was stuck in patterns that felt impossible to break. No matter how hard I worked, how much I studied, or how many different approaches I tried, I kept ending up in the same kinds of situations over and over again. I would make progress for a while, get excited about how things were improving, and then something would happen that would pull me right back to where I started. I tried changing my actions, changing my environment, changing my relationships, changing my career. But nothing created lasting change until I discovered that the real problem wasn't what I was doing, it was what I was speaking. Every day, without even realizing it, I was using my words to recreate the same reality I was trying to escape from. The speaking practice I'll share with you came through a moment of spiritual clarity where I finally understood that my words weren't just describing my reality, they were creating it. From that day forward, I committed to speaking only words that aligned with the life my soul was calling me to live, regardless of what my current circumstances looked like. The changes that followed were so dramatic and happened so quickly that people around me started asking what had happened to me. Within weeks, opportunities started appearing that I had been trying to create for years. Money began flowing in ways I had never experienced before. Relationships transformed, my health improved, my creativity exploded. Life became easier and more joyful than I had ever imagined possible. But the most important change was internal. I stopped feeling like a victim of circumstances and started feeling like a conscious creator of my reality. I stopped waiting for life to give me permission to be happy and started choosing happiness regardless of what was happening around me. I stopped speaking like someone who hoped good things might happen someday and started speaking like someone who knew that abundance was my natural state. This daily practice isn't complicated, but it is precise. It isn't difficult to understand, but it does require discipline. It doesn't take hours of your time, but it does need to become as natural as breathing. When you make this practice part of your daily routine, when you commit to speaking your spiritual truth consistently instead of occasionally, your entire life will begin reorganizing itself to match the words you've been speaking. But you have to be ready to stick with it even when you don't see immediate results. You have to be willing to speak abundance when your bank account looks empty. You have to be prepared to declare that your higher path is unfolding perfectly even when everything feels chaotic and uncertain. You have to be committed to using words of faith when everyone around you is speaking fear. This is not about pretending problems don't exist or ignoring challenges that need to be addressed. This is about recognizing that your words have creative power and choosing to use that power to align with your highest good instead of accidentally creating more of what you don't want. So I'll ask you again, are you ready? Are you ready to discover that your voice contains the same creative force that spoke stars into existence? Are you ready to learn that every word you speak is either a prayer for more abundance or a request for more lack? Are you ready to understand that your higher path has been waiting for you to speak it into manifestation? If your answer is yes, if you're truly ready to merge with the abundance of your higher path through the power of sacred speaking, then everything you need to know is in what comes next. The reason most people never experience the abundance their soul is calling for isn't because they're not smart enough, not talented enough, or not deserving enough. It's because they don't understand the spiritual law that governs how words create reality. They don't realize that every conversation they have, every internal dialogue they run in their minds, every casual comment they make throughout the day is either building the abundant life they want or tearing it down. Consider how you speak about money when you're with friends. Do you join in when everyone starts complaining about how expensive everything is getting? Do you participate in conversations about how hard it is to make ends meet? Do you agree when someone says the economy is terrible and opportunities are scarce? Every time you add your voice to these kinds of conversations, you're speaking yourself further away from financial abundance. Or think about how you talk about relationships. When your friends start sharing stories about how unreliable people are, how hard it is to find good partners, how everyone is selfish and inconsiderate, do you chime in with your own examples and experiences? When you do this, you're literally speaking more difficult relationships into your future. The same pattern happens with career opportunities, health challenges, family situations, and every other area of life. Most people spend their days speaking about what's wrong, what's not working, what they're worried about, and what they don't want to happen. Then they wonder why their lives seem to be full of problems, struggles, and disappointments. Your higher path exists in a realm where abundance is the natural state, where opportunities flow freely, where love and joy are always available, where creative solutions appear easily. But to access this realm through your physical experience, you must learn to speak the language of that realm. You must use words that match the energy and frequency of your higher path. This means that even when you're surrounded by people who are speaking lack, limitation, and fear, you must find ways to speak abundance, possibility, and faith. Even when the news is full of stories about problems and crises, you must train yourself to focus on and speak about the solutions and opportunities that are always present. Even when your current circumstances look like evidence that abundance isn't available to you, you must speak as someone who knows that abundance is your spiritual birthright. This isn't about being fake or pretending everything is perfect when it's not. This is about understanding that your words are not just describing reality, they're actively creating it. When you speak about problems, you're not just reporting what's happening, you're actually feeding energy into those problems and making them stronger. When you speak about solutions and possibilities, you're not just being optimistic, you're actually opening pathways for those solutions to manifest. Your higher path is trying to communicate with you through your intuition, through synchronicities, through opportunities that appear, and through the desires that arise in your heart. But if your daily speaking is focused on everything that's wrong or difficult or lacking, you create so much mental and emotional noise that you can't hear the guidance your higher path is trying to give you. This is why people often say they feel stuck or confused about their purpose or direction in life. It's not that their higher path isn't trying to guide them. It's that their consistent focus on problems and limitations through their words creates a frequency that's completely different from the frequency of their higher path. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while there's static and interference drowning out the signal. When you begin speaking in alignment with your higher path, when you consistently use words that match the abundant, guided, blessed life your soul knows is possible for you, you clear away all that static and interference. Suddenly, you start receiving clear guidance about next steps to take. Opportunities that were always there but invisible to you before become obvious. People who can help you accomplish your goals start appearing in your life. Resources you need become available. Solutions to problems you've been struggling with for months or years suddenly become clear. This is why learning to speak sacredly, to choose your words consciously based on the reality you want to create, rather than the reality you're currently experiencing, is the most powerful spiritual practice you can develop. It's not separate from meditation, prayer, or other spiritual disciplines. It actually makes all of those practices more effective because your words are keeping you aligned with your highest good throughout the day. But most people never learn this because they think their words don't matter that much. They think words are just sounds that disappear after they're spoken. They don't realize that words carry energy, that words create emotional states, that words program the subconscious mind, and that words send out vibrations that attract matching experiences back to them. When you truly understand the creative power of your words, when you realize that speaking is actually a form of prayer and manifestation that you're doing all day long, everything changes. You become much more careful about what you say, much more intentional about the energy you're putting out through your voice, and much more aware of how your speaking is either supporting your higher path or working against it. This awareness is the first step toward transformation, but awareness alone isn't enough. You must also be willing to do the practice, to actually change your speaking patterns consistently over time until speaking in alignment with your higher path becomes as natural as breathing. This is where most people stop because it requires discipline and consistency, qualities that our instant gratification culture doesn't encourage. But the rewards for those who stick with this practice are beyond anything you can imagine right now. When your words consistently align with your higher path, your entire life becomes a flow of abundance, opportunity, joy, and fulfillment that feels almost magical. Problems solve themselves quickly. Resources appear when you need them. The right people show up at the perfect times. Your intuition becomes so strong that you always know what to do next. Life becomes an adventure of discovering just how good things can get when you're aligned with your spiritual truth. This is what's waiting for you on the other side of learning to speak sacredly. This is the abundant life your higher path has been trying to deliver to you all along. The only thing standing between you and this experience is learning to use your voice as the creative tool it was always meant to be. Your words are a bridge between your current reality and your higher path. Every single time you speak, whether it's out loud to another person or silently in your own mind, you're either moving closer to the abundant life your soul is calling for, or you're pushing that beautiful life further away from you. There is no neutral ground when it comes to the power of your words. Every word you speak is either building the bridge to your higher path or tearing that bridge down. Most people don't understand this spiritual truth because they think words are just sounds that describe what's already happening. They believe they're simply reporting on their reality when they speak about their problems, their struggles, their limitations, and their fears. But what they don't realize is that words don't just describe reality. Words actually create reality. When you speak, you're not just talking about what is, you're actively participating in creating what will be. Let me explain this with an example that will make everything clear. If your higher path includes financial freedom, if your soul is calling you to experience abundance and prosperity, but you keep saying things like, "I can't afford this," or "money is so hard to make," or "I never have enough," then you're speaking against your own abundance. You're using your words to create a bridge that leads away from financial freedom instead of toward it. Every time you say, "I can't afford this," you're not just describing your current bank account balance. You're actually programming your subconscious mind to look for reasons why you can't afford things. You're training your brain to focus on lack instead of abundance. You're sending out an energy vibration that attracts more experiences of not being able to afford what you want. You're literally speaking poverty into your future. But when you understand that your words are a bridge to your higher path, everything changes. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," you learn to say things like, "I'm open to creative ways to have what I want," or "money flows to me easily from expected and unexpected sources," or "I always have everything I need when I need it." These words create a completely different bridge, one that leads directly to the financial abundance your higher path has waiting for you. The same principle applies to every area of your life. If your higher path includes beautiful, loving relationships, but you keep saying things like, "All the good ones are taken," or "People are so selfish these days," or "I always attract the wrong type of person," then you're building a bridge that leads to more disappointing relationships. Your words are actually creating the very experiences you don't want to have. But when you start saying things like, "Love flows to me easily and naturally," or "I attract wonderful people who appreciate and value me," or "My perfect partner is finding their way to me right now," you're building a bridge that leads directly to the loving relationships your soul desires. This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending things are different than they are. This is about understanding that your current reality was created by the words you've been speaking in the past. And your future reality is being created by the words you're speaking right now. If you don't like your current reality, the most powerful thing you can do is change the words you speak every day. Think about this carefully. Every limitation you're currently experiencing in your life can be traced back to words you've been speaking consistently over time. If you're struggling financially, look at how you've been speaking about money. If you're having relationship problems, examine how you talk about other people and about love. If you're feeling stuck in your career, notice what you say about work and opportunities. Most people have been speaking their problems into existence for years without realizing it. They've been using their words to reinforce their limitations, to confirm their fears, and to create evidence for why their dreams aren't possible. They wake up every morning and immediately start speaking about how tired they are, how much they don't want to face the day, how difficult everything is going to be. Then they spend the rest of the day speaking these same kinds of words to everyone they encounter. What they don't understand is that every one of these words is like an instruction to the universe about what kind of day they want to have, what kind of experiences they want to attract, and what kind of life they want to create. When you constantly speak about being tired, the universe assumes you want to experience more tiredness and keeps giving you reasons to feel tired. When you always talk about how difficult things are, the universe thinks that's what you're asking for and keeps making things difficult. But your higher path operates on completely different principles. Your higher path exists in a realm where abundance is natural, where opportunities flow freely, where love is always available, and where creative solutions appear easily. To access this realm through your physical experience, you must learn to speak the language of your higher path instead of the language of your current limitations. This means that when you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately focusing on how tired you feel or how much you don't want to deal with your responsibilities, you train yourself to say things like, "I'm grateful for this new day and all the possibilities it holds," or "energy and enthusiasm flow through me easily," or "today is going to be full of pleasant surprises and wonderful opportunities." When you encounter a challenge during your day, instead of immediately speaking about how difficult or frustrating it is, you learn to say things like, "This situation is working out perfectly for my highest good," or "The solution to this problem is revealing itself to me now," or "I trust that everything is happening exactly as it should." When you're talking with friends or family, instead of joining in conversations that focus on problems, complaints, and limitations, you find ways to redirect the conversation toward possibilities, solutions, and positive outcomes. You become someone who speaks hope instead of fear, abundance instead of lack, and faith instead of doubt. This doesn't mean you ignore real problems or pretend challenges don't exist. It means you understand that your words have creative power, and you choose to use that power to create solutions rather than to make problems bigger. It means you speak to the highest potential in every situation instead of reinforcing what's wrong or difficult. When you make this shift, when you start using your words as a bridge to your higher path instead of a reinforcement of your current limitations, miraculous things begin to happen. Problems that seemed impossible to solve suddenly have obvious solutions. Resources you need start appearing from unexpected sources. People who can help you show up at exactly the right time. Opportunities open up that you never could have planned or predicted. This happens because your words change your energy, and your energy determines what you attract into your life. When you speak words of abundance, possibility, and faith, you raise your vibration to match the frequency of your higher path. At this higher frequency, you become magnetic to all the blessings, opportunities, and resources that exist at that level. But when you speak words of lack, limitation, and fear, you lower your vibration to match the frequency of struggle and difficulty. At this lower frequency, you attract more experiences that match that energy. More problems, more obstacles, more reasons to feel frustrated and discouraged. Your higher path is always trying to deliver abundance to you, but it can only deliver what matches your current vibration. If your words are keeping you at a low vibration, your higher path can't get through to you. It's like trying to receive a radio signal when you're tuned to the wrong frequency. The signal is always being broadcast, but you can't receive it because you're not aligned with the right frequency. When you learn to speak in alignment with your higher path, you tune yourself to the frequency where all your blessings exist. Suddenly, you can receive the guidance, opportunities, resources, and support that have been trying to reach you all along. Your life transforms not because anything outside of you changed, but because you changed the frequency you were broadcasting through your words. This is why learning to speak sacredly is the most practical spiritual practice you can develop. It doesn't require you to sit in meditation for hours, although meditation can certainly support this practice. It doesn't require you to withdraw from the world or change your entire lifestyle. It simply requires you to become conscious of the words you're speaking throughout your normal day and choose words that build a bridge to your higher path instead of reinforcing your current limitations. The first key to speaking your way into the abundance of your higher path is learning to speak your identity instead of your circumstances. This is where most people get trapped without even realizing it. They spend their days describing what's happening to them, reporting on their current situation, and talking about their problems as if these temporary circumstances define who they are as a person. But your circumstances are not your identity. Your current bank account balance is not who you are. Your relationship status is not your true self. Your job title is not your identity. The challenges you're facing right now are not permanent parts of who you are. These are all temporary experiences that you're moving through, but they're not the truth of who you really are at the deepest level. When you speak your circumstances instead of your identity, you're accidentally using your words to lock yourself into those temporary situations. You're telling the universe that you want more of the same experiences you're currently having. You're programming your subconscious mind to expect and create more situations that match what you're describing. For example, when you say, "I'm broke," you're not just describing your current financial situation. You're actually declaring an identity statement. You're telling the universe, your subconscious mind, and everyone around you that being broke is who you are. And when being broke becomes part of your identity, your mind will work overtime to make sure you stay broke because it thinks that's who you're supposed to be. But when you understand the difference between circumstances and identity, everything changes. Instead of saying, "I'm broke," you learn to say, "I'm learning to receive abundance," or "I'm discovering new ways to create wealth," or "I'm becoming someone who attracts money easily." These statements acknowledge that your current financial situation is temporary while affirming that you're moving toward abundance. The same principle applies to every area of your life. Instead of saying, "I'm lost," which makes being lost part of your identity, you say, "I'm discovering my higher path," or "I'm becoming clearer about my direction every day." Instead of saying, "I'm alone," you say, "I'm preparing for beautiful relationships," or "I'm becoming the kind of person who attracts wonderful people." This shift might seem small, but it creates a completely different energy and attracts completely different results. When you speak your circumstances, you're stuck in what is. When you speak your identity as someone who's becoming, you're aligned with what's possible. You're using your words to create movement toward your higher path instead of reinforcement of your current situation. Most people resist this at first because they think they're being dishonest. They think that if they're currently struggling financially, they should say they're struggling financially. They believe that acknowledging their current circumstances is being realistic and truthful. But what they don't understand is that speaking your circumstances as if they're permanent actually makes them more permanent. It's not more honest. It's actually working against the truth of who you really are. The truth is that you are a spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. The truth is that abundance is your natural state, and lack is just a temporary experience you're moving through. The truth is that your higher path has incredible blessings waiting for you, and your current circumstances are just the starting point of your journey toward those blessings. When you speak this deeper truth instead of your surface circumstances, you're actually being more honest, not less honest. You're speaking to who you really are instead of who you appear to be based on temporary conditions. You're aligning your words with your spiritual reality instead of limiting yourself to your physical reality. This is why wealthy people often speak differently than people who struggle with money. If you listen carefully to how financially successful people talk, you'll notice that they rarely speak about lack or limitation. They don't say things like, "I can't afford that," even when they're being careful with their spending. Instead, they say things like, "I choose not to spend money on that," or "That's not a priority for me right now." They speak as people who have choices and options, not as people who are limited by circumstances. The same pattern shows up in every area of life. People who have great relationships speak differently about love and connection than people who struggle with relationships. People who are successful in their careers speak differently about work and opportunities than people who feel stuck in dead-end jobs. People who are healthy speak differently about their bodies than people who are always dealing with illness. The difference isn't that successful people don't face challenges or have problems. The difference is that they don't let those temporary challenges become part of their identity through their words. They speak to who they're becoming and where they're going, not just to what they're currently experiencing. You can start applying this key immediately by paying attention to the identity statements you make throughout your day. Notice when you say things like, "I'm terrible with money," or "I'm not good at relationships," or "I'm not a lucky person," or "I'm not creative," or "I'm not confident." These are all identity statements that limit your potential and keep you stuck in patterns that don't serve your higher path. Instead, start replacing these limiting identity statements with becoming statements that align with your higher path. Say, "I'm learning to manage money wisely," instead of "I'm terrible with money." Say, "I'm developing my relationship skills," instead of "I'm not good at relationships." Say, "I'm becoming someone who recognizes opportunities," instead of "I'm not lucky." Say, "I'm discovering my creative abilities," instead of "I'm not creative." You can also start making positive identity statements that align with the person your higher path is calling you to become. Say things like, "I am someone who attracts abundance easily," or "I am a person who creates value wherever I go," or "I am becoming more confident and capable every day," or "I am naturally intuitive and always guided to the right opportunities." At first, these statements might feel strange or untrue because they don't match your current circumstances. Your mind might resist and try to argue with you about whether these things are really accurate. This resistance is normal and actually shows you that you're breaking through old patterns that have been keeping you stuck. The key is to remember that you're not lying or being fake. You're speaking to your potential instead of your current limitations. You're aligning your words with who you're becoming instead of who you've been. You're using your voice to call forth the highest version of yourself instead of reinforcing old patterns that no longer serve you. When you consistently speak your identity as someone who's aligned with their higher path, several powerful things begin to happen. First, your subconscious mind starts looking for evidence to support these new identity statements. Instead of focusing on all the reasons why you can't have what you want, your mind starts noticing opportunities, resources, and possibilities that were always there but invisible to you before. Second, other people start responding to you differently. When you speak with the energy and confidence of someone who's aligned with their higher path, people naturally want to help you, support you, and include you in opportunities. They sense something different about your energy and are drawn to be part of whatever you're creating. Third, you start making different choices naturally. When you truly see yourself as someone who attracts abundance, you make choices that align with abundance. When you identify as someone who's guided by their higher path, you start trusting your intuition more and following the guidance that comes through. When you speak as someone who's becoming more confident every day, you start taking actions that confident people take. These changes happen naturally when you consistently speak your identity instead of your circumstances. You don't have to force yourself to act differently or try to become someone you're not. Your actions and choices automatically begin to align with the identity you're claiming through your words. This is the power of speaking your identity instead of your circumstances. This is how you use your words to become a magnet for the experiences that match your higher path. This is the first key that opens the door to living the abundant life your soul knows is possible for you. The second key to merging with the abundance of your higher path is learning to speak in present tense instead of pushing your good into some distant future. This is one of the most common mistakes people make when they're trying to create positive changes in their lives, and it's also one of the most important corrections you can make to accelerate your transformation. Most people, when they start learning about the power of words and positive thinking, make the mistake of speaking about their dreams and desires as if they're going to happen someday in the future. They say things like, "I will be abundant," or "I'm going to find my perfect partner," or "someday I'll have the career I really want." While these statements are more positive than complaining about current circumstances, they actually keep your good stuck in the future instead of allowing it to manifest in your present experience. When you speak about abundance as something that will happen later, you're unconsciously programming your subconscious mind to keep it later. You're telling the universe that abundance belongs in the future, not in the now. You're creating a mental and energetic pattern that always keeps your desires just out of reach, always coming but never quite arriving. Your higher path operates on completely different principles than this future-focused thinking. In the spiritual realm where your higher path exists, there is only now. Abundance is not something that will exist someday. Abundance exists right now in this moment. Opportunities are not going to appear in the future. Opportunities are available right now. Love is not coming to you eventually. Love is present and available right now. But most people can't access this present moment abundance because their words keep them focused on lack in the present and hope for good things in the future. They speak about what they don't have right now and what they hope to have someday, completely missing the abundance that's available to them in this moment. When you learn to speak in present tense about your spiritual truth, when you start saying things like, "I am abundantly provided for," instead of "I will be abundant someday," you align yourself with the present moment reality of your higher path. You tune into the frequency where abundance already exists instead of the frequency where abundance is always coming but never quite here. This doesn't mean you ignore practical realities or pretend your bank account has more money than it actually has. It means you speak to the spiritual truth that abundance is your natural state, even when your physical circumstances haven't caught up to that truth yet. It means you recognize that abundance includes much more than just money. It includes opportunities, resources, support, guidance, health, relationships, creativity, and countless other blessings that are available to you right now. For example, instead of saying, "I will have financial freedom someday," you learn to say, "I am financially free," or "Financial abundance flows to me now," or "I am provided for in all ways." Instead of saying, "I'm going to find my soulmate," you say, "My perfect partner and I are drawn together now," or "Love is present in my life," or "I am in a beautiful, loving relationship." At first, these present tense statements might feel uncomfortable or untrue because they don't match your current external circumstances. Your logical mind might resist and try to argue that you can't say you're financially free when you have bills you're worried about paying, or that you can't say you're in a loving relationship when you're currently single. But this resistance comes from misunderstanding what you're actually doing when you speak in present tense about your spiritual truth. You're not making statements about your current physical circumstances. You're making statements about your spiritual reality, and you're using your words to align your physical experience with that spiritual truth. In the spiritual realm, you are already everything your higher path is calling you to become. You are already abundant, already guided, already blessed, already provided for. The only reason you're not experiencing this fully in your physical reality is because your words, thoughts, and energy haven't been aligned with this spiritual truth. When you speak in present tense about your spiritual reality, you're not lying or being delusional. You're speaking to a deeper level of truth than what appears on the surface. You're aligning your voice with the voice of your higher self, who knows that abundance is your birthright and that all good things are available to you right now. This present tense speaking creates several powerful shifts in your experience. First, it changes your energy immediately. When you say, "I am abundant," instead of "I will be abundant someday," you feel different right away. There's a sense of completeness and satisfaction that comes from speaking present tense truth that you can't get from future-focused hoping. Second, present tense speaking changes what you notice and focus on throughout your day. When you affirm, "I am abundantly provided for," your mind starts looking for evidence of all the ways you're already provided for right now. You notice the food in your refrigerator, the roof over your head, the clothes in your closet, the friends who care about you, the opportunities that are available to you. You start recognizing abundance that was invisible to you when you were focused on what you didn't have. Third, speaking in present tense about your spiritual truth attracts experiences that match that energy. When you consistently affirm, "Financial abundance flows to me now," you start noticing money-making opportunities you missed before. When you declare, "I am guided and supported in all ways," you become more aware of the guidance and support that's always available to you. When you state, "Perfect opportunities come to me easily," you start recognizing and acting on opportunities that were always there, but that you couldn't see when you were focused on future hopes instead of present truth. This is why present tense speaking is so much more powerful than future tense hoping. Future tense statements keep you in a state of wanting and waiting. Present tense statements put you in a state of having and receiving. The universe responds to your energetic state, not to your circumstances. When you speak and feel from a state of having, you attract more experiences of having. When you speak and feel from a state of wanting, you attract more experiences of wanting. Your higher path has been trying to deliver abundance to you all along, but it can only give you what matches your current energetic state. If your speaking keeps you in a future-focused, someday-hoping energy, your higher path has to keep your good in the future to match your energy. But when you shift to present tense speaking about spiritual truth, you create an energetic opening for your higher path to deliver abundance right now. Many people worry that present tense speaking about abundance is unrealistic or impractical. They think they need to see physical evidence before they can speak present tense truth. But this gets the spiritual order backwards. In the physical world, you usually need to see something before you believe it. But in the spiritual realm, you need to speak and believe something before you can see it. Your words are not describing what already exists in physical form. Your words are calling forth what exists in spiritual potential. When you speak present tense truth about abundance, you're not describing your bank account. You're calling forth the financial blessings that exist in spiritual potential. When you declare present tense truth about love, you're not describing your current relationship status. You're drawing forth the love that's always available to you. This is how creation works in the spiritual realm. First comes the word, then comes the manifestation. First comes the present tense declaration of truth, then comes the physical evidence of that truth. Most people wait for the evidence before they'll speak the truth, but this keeps them stuck in current circumstances instead of moving into their higher path. The key to making this work is consistency and faith. You must speak present tense truth about your abundance even when, especially when, your circumstances don't match yet. You must continue affirming, "I am provided for in all ways," even when bills are due and you're not sure how you'll pay them. You must keep declaring, "Perfect opportunities flow to me easily," even when your current job feels dead-end and you don't see any options. This requires faith because you're speaking to what you know is spiritually true instead of what appears to be physically true. But this faith is what creates the bridge between your current circumstances and your higher path. Every present tense statement of spiritual truth is like laying another plank in that bridge, creating a pathway for abundance to flow from potential into reality. When you make present tense speaking a daily practice, when you consistently use your words to affirm the abundance that exists right now in spiritual truth, you'll start seeing miraculous changes in your physical experience. Money will begin appearing from unexpected sources. Opportunities will open up that seem perfectly designed for you. Resources you need will become available just when you need them. People who can help you will show up at exactly the right time. These aren't coincidences or lucky breaks. These are the natural result of aligning your words with the present moment abundance of your higher path. This is how you stop pushing your good into the future and start receiving it right now. This is the second key that unlocks the door to living in the flow of abundance that your soul knows is your natural state. The third key to unlocking the abundance of your higher path is learning to speak gratitude before you see physical evidence of what you're grateful for. This is where most people completely miss the power of gratitude and why their gratitude practice doesn't create the miraculous results they're hoping for. They wait until good things happen before they feel and express gratitude, but this gets the spiritual order completely backwards. Most people think gratitude is a response to receiving blessings. They believe you should be grateful after something good happens to you, after you get the money you need, after you meet the right person, after you land the perfect job. They see gratitude as a natural reaction to positive circumstances, like saying thank you after someone gives you a gift. But this understanding of gratitude keeps you stuck in a pattern where you can only feel grateful for what you already have, which means you're always operating from your current limitations instead of your infinite possibilities. When you only express gratitude for existing blessings, you're unknowingly telling the universe that you're satisfied with your current level of abundance and don't need anything more. Your higher path operates on a completely different principle. In the spiritual realm, gratitude is not a response to receiving. Gratitude is what creates the receiving. Gratitude is not something you do after blessings show up. Gratitude is what calls the blessings forth. When you understand this spiritual law and learn to speak gratitude before you see results, you open floodgates of abundance that most people never access. This happens because gratitude is one of the highest vibrational frequencies you can embody. When you speak words of genuine gratitude, you immediately align yourself with the frequency of abundance, blessing, and divine provision. At this frequency, you become magnetic to experiences that match this high vibration. You literally attract more things to be grateful for because gratitude creates more gratitude. But here's the key that changes everything. You don't have to wait until you have physical evidence to feel and express this high vibration gratitude. You can speak gratitude for the abundance that's flowing to you right now, even when you can't see it yet. You can express thankfulness for the perfect opportunities that are opening up for you, even when they haven't appeared in physical form yet. You can feel grateful for the financial breakthrough that's on its way to you, even when your bank account doesn't reflect it yet. For example, instead of waiting until you receive money to say, "Thank you for this financial blessing," you learn to say, "Thank you for the abundance that's flowing to me right now," or "I'm grateful for all the ways money is coming to me, seen and unseen," or "Thank you for the financial breakthrough that's manifesting in my life now." These statements create an energetic opening for abundance to flow to you because you're already in the grateful, receptive state that abundance requires. The same principle applies to every area of your life. Instead of waiting until you meet your ideal partner to feel grateful for love, you say, "Thank you for the beautiful relationship that's coming together now," or "I'm grateful for the love that's flowing into my life," or "Thank you for my perfect partner who is finding their way to me." Instead of waiting until you get your dream job to express career gratitude, you declare, "Thank you for the perfect opportunities that are opening up for me," or "I'm grateful for the work that aligns perfectly with my purpose." At first, this kind of advanced gratitude might feel strange or fake because you're expressing thankfulness for things you can't see yet. Your logical mind might resist and try to convince you that you can't be grateful for something that hasn't happened yet. But this resistance comes from misunderstanding what you're actually doing when you speak advanced gratitude. You're not being fake or pretending something exists when it doesn't. You're recognizing that in the spiritual realm, everything you need already exists and is already on its way to you. You're acknowledging that your higher path has already arranged every blessing, opportunity, and resource you need for your complete fulfillment. You're expressing gratitude for spiritual realities that are in the process of becoming physical realities. When you speak this kind of advanced gratitude consistently, several powerful things begin to happen. First, your energy shifts immediately into a state of abundance and receiving. Instead of feeling needy, worried, or lacking, you feel provided for and blessed. This energetic shift alone attracts different experiences into your life because you're broadcasting a different frequency. Second, advanced gratitude opens your awareness to recognize blessings and opportunities that were always there but invisible to you before. When you're genuinely grateful for the abundance that's flowing to you, you start noticing all the ways you're already being supported and provided for. You see opportunities you missed before. You recognize resources that were available all along. You become aware of guidance and synchronicities that were happening but that you weren't paying attention to. Third, speaking gratitude before seeing results actually accelerates the manifestation process. This happens because gratitude removes resistance and creates flow. When you're worried, doubtful, or impatient about receiving what you want, you create energetic resistance that slows down or blocks the flow of abundance. But when you're genuinely grateful for what's coming, you create smooth, energetic pathways for your blessings to reach you quickly and easily. Many people struggle with advanced gratitude because they confuse it with positive thinking or wishful thinking. They think they're supposed to manufacture fake feelings of thankfulness for things they don't really believe are coming. But authentic advanced gratitude doesn't require you to convince yourself that specific things will definitely happen in specific ways at specific times. Authentic advanced gratitude is based on trust in your higher path and faith in the spiritual laws that govern abundance. You don't have to know exactly how your blessings will manifest or exactly when they'll appear. You just need to trust that your higher path is always working for your highest good, and that abundance is always flowing toward you, even when you can't see the physical evidence yet. This trust allows you to feel genuine gratitude for the love, support, and guidance that's always available to you. It allows you to be thankful for the perfect timing of your life, even when things seem to be moving too slowly. It enables you to express gratitude for the opportunities and resources that are being prepared for you, even when you don't know what they are yet. The practice of advanced gratitude becomes easier when you start small and build up your gratitude muscle gradually. Begin by expressing thankfulness for things that are likely to happen or that are already in motion but not complete yet. Say, "Thank you for this beautiful day that's unfolding," when you wake up in the morning. Express gratitude for meals before you eat them. "Thank you for this nourishing food." Feel thankful for safe travels before you begin a journey. "Thank you for this safe and pleasant trip." As you get comfortable with this kind of immediate advanced gratitude, you can expand to expressing thankfulness for larger blessings that are on their way to you. Thank the universe for the perfect opportunities that are opening up in your career, even when you don't see them yet. Express gratitude for the healing that's happening in your body, even when you still have symptoms. Feel thankful for the abundance that's flowing to you through channels you haven't discovered yet. The key is to make advanced gratitude a daily practice, not something you try occasionally when you remember. Start each day by expressing gratitude for the blessings that are on their way to you. Throughout the day, whenever you think about something you want or need, immediately shift into gratitude for that thing as if it's already flowing to you. End each day by thanking your higher path for all the ways you were supported, guided, and provided for, including the support you received that you weren't even aware of. When you make advanced gratitude a consistent practice, when you train yourself to speak thankfulness for the abundance that's always flowing to you, you'll start experiencing what feels like miraculous synchronicities and blessings. Money will appear when you need it most. The right people will show up at exactly the right time. Opportunities will open up that seem designed specifically for you. Health improvements will happen faster than expected. Creative solutions will come to problems that seemed impossible to solve. These aren't accidents or coincidences. These are the natural result of aligning yourself with the frequency of gratitude and abundance through your words. This is how you open the floodgates of blessings that your higher path has been waiting to deliver to you. This is the third key that transforms you from someone who waits for good things to happen into someone who magnetizes good things through the power of grateful speaking. The fourth and final key to speaking your way into abundance is learning to immediately replace fear-based words with faith-based words every single time you catch yourself speaking from worry, doubt, or limitation. This is perhaps the most challenging key to master because fear-based speaking is so automatic and unconscious for most people. But it's also the key that creates the most dramatic and immediate transformation in your life experience. Every day, you speak hundreds of words that are rooted in fear without even realizing it. You say things like, "What if this doesn't work out?" Or, "I hope nothing bad happens," or, "I can't handle any more problems," or, "Things are probably going to get worse." These fear words might seem harmless or even realistic, but they're actually instructions to the universe about what kind of experiences you want to attract. When you speak fear, you're literally speaking your fears into existence. Every worry you voice out loud, every doubt you express, every negative possibility you discuss is like placing an order with the universe for more experiences that match those fearful expectations. Your words carry creative power, whether they're positive or negative, faithful or fearful, abundant or limiting. Most people don't realize they're speaking fear into their lives because fear-based speaking is so normalized in our culture. When friends get together, they often bond over sharing their worries and concerns. When families gather, conversations frequently focus on problems, health scares, financial stress, and everything that could go wrong. When coworkers interact, they commonly discuss all the ways their company is struggling or their industry is declining. These conversations might feel like normal human connection, but they're actually group fear creation sessions. Every time you participate in conversations that focus on what's wrong, what might go wrong, or what you're worried about, you're joining your creative voice with others to speak more difficulty into all of your lives. But your higher path operates from a completely different foundation. Your higher path exists in a realm where faith, not fear, is the operating principle. In this realm, everything is always working out for your highest good. Resources are always available when you need them. The right opportunities always appear at the perfect time. Creative solutions always emerge for every challenge. Love and support are always flowing to you from seen and unseen sources. When you learn to speak from this faith-based perspective instead of fear-based assumptions, you align your words with the frequency of your higher path. You stop accidentally creating more of what you don't want and start consciously calling forth what you do want. You become a deliberate creator of your reality instead of an unconscious victim of circumstances. The practice of replacing fear words with faith words requires you to become very aware of your speaking patterns throughout the day. You need to notice when you're about to say something that comes from worry, doubt, or negative expectation, and consciously choose different words that come from faith, trust, and positive expectation. For example, instead of saying, "What if I can't pay my bills this month?" you learn to say, "I trust that the money I need is on its way to me," or "My higher path always provides exactly what I need when I need it," or "Creative solutions for my finances are revealing themselves to me now." Instead of saying, "I hope I don't get sick," you declare, "My body is strong and healthy," or "I am protected and surrounded by healing energy," or "Perfect health flows through every cell of my being." Instead of worrying out loud, "What if this relationship doesn't work out?" you choose to say, "This relationship is unfolding perfectly for everyone's highest good," or "Love guides every aspect of this connection," or "I trust the divine timing of all my relationships." Instead of expressing doubt like, "I probably won't get this job," you affirm, "The perfect opportunity is opening up for me," or "I am guided to work that aligns with my purpose," or "My ideal career is manifesting now." This shift from fear words to faith words might feel awkward or unnatural at first, especially if you've been speaking fear for years or decades. Your mind might resist and try to convince you that fear-based speaking is more realistic or honest. You might worry that speaking faith instead of fear means you're not being prepared for potential problems or that you're ignoring real challenges. But speaking faith instead of fear doesn't mean you ignore practical realities or fail to take appropriate action when action is needed. It means you approach challenges from a position of spiritual strength instead of spiritual weakness. It means you expect solutions instead of expecting more problems. It means you trust that your higher path is guiding you through every situation instead of assuming you're on your own to figure everything out. When you consistently replace fear words with faith words, several miraculous things begin to happen. First, your emotional state improves dramatically. Instead of spending your days feeling worried, anxious, and stressed about all the things that might go wrong, you feel peaceful, confident, and optimistic about how things are working out. This shift in emotional state alone attracts completely different experiences into your life. Second, your mind starts looking for evidence to support your faith-based statements instead of evidence to support your fears. When you say everything is working out perfectly, your brain starts noticing all the ways things are indeed working out well. When you declare, "I am always provided for," you become aware of all the ways you're being supported and resourced. When you affirm, "Creative solutions come to me easily," you start recognizing solutions and opportunities that were invisible to you when you were focused on problems. Third, other people respond to your faith-based energy completely differently than they respond to fear-based energy. When you speak with faith and confidence about positive outcomes, people want to help you and support you. They're drawn to your energy and want to be part of whatever you're creating. But when you speak with fear and worry, people often unconsciously distance themselves because fearful energy is draining and contagious. The key to mastering this practice is catching yourself quickly when you start to speak fear and immediately correcting yourself with faith words. Don't judge yourself or feel bad when you notice you've said something fear-based. Simply pause, take a breath, and consciously choose different words that align with faith and trust. You can even say out loud, "Let me rephrase that," and then speak the faith-based version of what you were trying to express. For instance, if you catch yourself saying, "I'm so worried about this presentation," you can immediately say, "Let me rephrase that. I'm excited to share my ideas and I trust that everything will go perfectly." If you hear yourself saying, "This situation is hopeless," you can correct yourself by saying, "Actually, I know that creative solutions are available for every situation." This practice becomes easier and more natural over time as you train yourself to think and speak from faith instead of fear. Eventually, faith-based speaking becomes your default mode, and you'll rarely slip into fear-based patterns. When you do occasionally catch yourself speaking fear, you'll immediately notice how heavy and wrong it feels compared to the lightness and power of speaking faith. As you develop mastery with this fourth key, you'll discover that there are faith-based words to replace every fear-based expression. Instead of saying, "I can't," you learn to say, "I'm learning how," or "I'm discovering the way." Instead of saying, "This is impossible," you declare, "All things are possible," or "The solution is revealing itself to me." Instead of saying, "I don't have enough," you affirm, "I have everything I need," or "More is always available to me." The transformation that happens when you consistently speak faith instead of fear is nothing short of miraculous. Problems that seemed overwhelming suddenly have obvious solutions. Resources appear when you need them most. People offer help and support in unexpected ways. Opportunities open up that seem designed specifically for your highest good. Health challenges resolve more quickly than anticipated. Relationships improve dramatically. Financial stress dissolves as money begins flowing from multiple sources. This happens because when you speak faith, you align yourself with the unlimited creative power of the universe. You tap into the same divine energy that creates galaxies and grows flowers from tiny seeds. You connect with the infinite intelligence that knows exactly how to arrange circumstances for your highest good. You become a conscious co-creator with the divine instead of a fearful reactor to circumstances. This is the fourth key that completes your foundation for speaking your way into the abundance of your higher path. When you master all four keys, speaking your identity instead of your circumstances, using present tense instead of future hopes, expressing gratitude before seeing results, and replacing fear words with faith words, you transform your entire relationship with reality. You stop being someone who waits for life to happen to you and become someone who consciously creates the life you want through the power of your sacred speaking. Now that you understand the four foundational keys, I want to share with you the most powerful speaking method I've ever discovered. This is the advanced technique that will instantly connect you to your higher path and accelerate your manifestation beyond anything you've experienced before. I call this method sacred speaking before seeing, and it's the secret that separates people who occasionally have good things happen to them from people who live in a constant flow of abundance and miracles. Here's what most people do, and why they stay stuck in the same patterns year after year. They wake up each morning and immediately start observing their current circumstances. They look at their bank account and speak about their financial situation. They notice their relationship status and talk about their loneliness or relationship problems. They think about their job and speak about their career frustrations. They check their body and comment on their health issues or energy levels. Then, based on what they observe in their current circumstances, they form their attitude and emotional state for the day. If they see problems, they feel worried. If they notice lack, they feel stressed. If they observe challenges, they feel overwhelmed. Their internal state becomes a direct reflection of their external circumstances. From this worried, stressed, overwhelmed internal state, they speak throughout the day. They talk to friends about their problems. They complain to family members about their struggles. They discuss with coworkers all the ways things aren't working out. Every conversation becomes a reinforcement of their current limitations and a creation of more of the same experiences. Then the universe, which is always listening to your words and responding to your energy, says, "Oh, I see you want more financial problems, relationship struggles, career frustration, and health challenges. Here you go." And it delivers more experiences that match exactly what you've been speaking about all day long. This creates what I call the puppet cycle, where your circumstances control your attitude controls your words, and your words create more of the same circumstances. You become a puppet dancing to whatever tune your current situation is playing, with no conscious control over what you're creating. But when you're aligned with your higher path, when you understand how creation really works in the spiritual realm, you reverse this entire process. Instead of starting with observation of your circumstances, you start with a conscious choice about the reality you want to create. Instead of letting your current situation determine your attitude, you choose your attitude based on the truth of who you're becoming and where you're going. This is how the advanced speaking method works. First, you consciously choose the image, the internal attitude, thoughts, and feelings that align with your higher path, regardless of what your current circumstances look like. You decide that today you're going to speak, think, and feel like someone who is abundantly blessed, divinely guided, and completely provided for, no matter what your bank account shows or what challenges you're facing. From this consciously chosen internal state, you speak throughout the day. Instead of talking about your problems, you speak about the solutions that are coming. Instead of complaining about what you don't have, you express gratitude for the abundance that's flowing to you. Instead of worrying about what might go wrong, you declare faith in how everything is working out perfectly. Then, because the universe always responds to your consistent energy and words, it begins to rearrange circumstances to match what you've been speaking. But here's the crucial part that most people miss. You must continue speaking your spiritual truth even when the physical changes haven't appeared yet. You must keep choosing your higher path attitude even when your circumstances still look the same. This requires tremendous faith and discipline because there's usually a delay between when you start speaking differently and when you see physical results. During this delay period, most people give up and go back to their old speaking patterns. They start observing their unchanged circumstances again, which pulls them back into the puppet cycle. But if you understand that this delay is normal and natural, if you're prepared to stay faithful to your higher path, speaking even when you can't see results yet, something magical happens. The universe begins to deliver experiences that match your faith-based words instead of your fear-based circumstances. Money starts appearing from unexpected sources. The perfect opportunities present themselves at exactly the right time. Solutions emerge for problems that seemed impossible to solve. People show up who can help you in ways you never imagined. Health improvements happen more quickly than anticipated. Relationships transform in beautiful ways. Life becomes easier, more joyful, and more abundant than you thought possible. This is not positive thinking or wishful thinking. This is conscious creation, using the same spiritual laws that govern all manifestation in the universe. You're simply learning to work with these laws intentionally instead of accidentally creating what you don't want through unconscious speaking. The key to making this advanced method work is understanding that you must turn your back on your current reflection. You must resist the temptation to constantly observe and comment on your current circumstances. Instead of looking at what is and speaking about what is, you must consistently speak about what you're choosing to create. This doesn't mean you ignore practical responsibilities or pretend problems don't exist when they need to be addressed. It means you approach every situation from the perspective of someone who is connected to unlimited resources, divine guidance, and creative solutions. You speak to the highest potential in every situation instead of reinforcing what's wrong or lacking. Instead of observing and commenting, you confirm and appreciate. When you do look at your life, you look specifically for evidence that your higher path speaking is working. You notice the small improvements, the little synchronicities, the unexpected blessings, the doors that are opening, the people who are helping you, the ideas that are coming to you. You focus your attention and words on everything that's working instead of everything that's not working yet. You speak appreciation for every sign that your abundance is manifesting instead of complaining about how slowly things are changing. You confirm that your higher path is unfolding perfectly instead of doubting whether this method really works. When you consistently practice this advanced speaking method, when you make it your daily way of being instead of something you try occasionally, your entire life becomes a demonstration of how powerful you really are. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a conscious creator of your reality. You stop waiting for life to give you permission to be happy and start choosing happiness as your foundation for creating everything else you want. People around you will start noticing that something has changed about your energy. They'll comment that you seem different, more confident, more peaceful, more magnetic. Opportunities will begin flowing to you that seem almost too good to be true. Resources will appear exactly when you need them. The right people will show up at the perfect times with exactly what you need to move forward. This is not luck or coincidence. This is the natural result of aligning your speaking with your higher path instead of your current circumstances. This is how you break free from the puppet cycle and step into your power as a conscious co-creator with the divine. This is the advanced method that transforms you from someone who hopes good things might happen into someone who knows that abundant blessings are always flowing to them. I need to share something personal with you that I hope will inspire you to fully embrace these speaking principles, because I know firsthand just how dramatically they can transform your entire life. Several years ago, I was exactly where many of you might be right now, stuck in patterns that felt impossible to break, trying everything I could think of to improve my situation, but somehow always ending up back where I started. I had read countless self-help books, attended seminars, tried different goal-setting methods, worked with coaches, and attempted various manifestation techniques. Some of these approaches would work for a while and get me excited about the progress I was making. But then something would always happen that would pull me right back into the same old struggles and limitations. I would make some money and then lose it. I would start a relationship that seemed promising and then it would fall apart. I would get excited about a career opportunity and then it would disappear. No matter how hard I worked or how much I learned, I kept experiencing the same cycles of hope followed by disappointment, progress followed by setbacks. During this time, I was speaking the way most people speak. I would wake up each morning and immediately start talking about how tired I felt, how much I didn't want to deal with my responsibilities, how stressed I was about money, how frustrated I was with my relationships, how stuck I felt in my career. I thought I was just being honest about my situation, but I didn't realize I was actually using my words to recreate the same reality I was trying to escape from. I would spend entire days complaining to friends about my problems, discussing with family members all the ways life was difficult, and focusing conversations on everything that wasn't working in my life. I thought these conversations were helping me process my feelings and get support, but what I was actually doing was reinforcing my limitations and speaking more struggle into my future. Then I had a spiritual awakening that changed everything. I was going through a particularly challenging period where it felt like everything in my life was falling apart simultaneously. I was dealing with financial stress, relationship problems, health issues, and career uncertainty all at the same time. I felt completely overwhelmed and didn't know where to turn or what to do next. During this crisis, I had a moment of clarity where I suddenly understood that my words weren't just describing my reality, they were actually creating it. I realized that every complaint I spoke, every worry I voiced, every limitation I declared was like an instruction to the universe about what kind of life I wanted to experience. I saw clearly that I had been using my voice to pray for more of exactly what I didn't want. From that moment of understanding, I made a commitment that would change everything. I decided that I would only speak words that aligned with the life my soul was calling me to live, regardless of what my current circumstances looked like. I committed to using my voice as a tool for conscious creation instead of unconscious destruction. The first few weeks of this new speaking practice were incredibly challenging. My mind constantly wanted to comment on problems, discuss difficulties, and express worries about the future. It felt strange and sometimes dishonest to speak abundance when my bank account was nearly empty, to declare perfect health when my body was dealing with issues, to affirm that everything was working out when my life felt chaotic. But I had made a commitment, and I was determined to see what would happen if I consistently spoke my spiritual truth instead of my physical circumstances. Every morning, I would wake up and immediately start speaking gratitude for the day ahead and the blessings that were flowing to me. Throughout the day, whenever I caught myself about to complain or express fear, I would pause and consciously choose different words that aligned with faith and abundance. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," I would say, "I'm open to creative ways to have what I want." Instead of complaining, "Nothing ever works out for me," I would declare, "Everything is always working out for my highest good." Instead of worrying, "What if this doesn't work?" I would affirm, "The perfect solution is revealing itself to me now." The changes that began to happen were so dramatic and occurred so quickly that I could hardly believe what I was experiencing. Within just a few weeks of changing my speaking patterns, opportunities started appearing that I had been trying to create for months. Money began flowing to me from sources I had never expected. People reached out to offer help and support in ways that seemed almost magical. A business opportunity presented itself that was perfectly aligned with my skills and interests. A health issue that had been bothering me for months suddenly resolved itself without any medical intervention. A relationship situation that had been causing me stress transformed completely when the other person's attitude toward me shifted dramatically for no apparent reason. But the most profound change was internal. I stopped feeling like a victim of circumstances and started feeling like a powerful creator of my reality. I stopped waiting for life to give me what I needed and started knowing that everything I needed was always available to me. I stopped worrying about the future and started trusting that my higher path was guiding every aspect of my life perfectly. Within 6 months of consistently practicing sacred speaking, my entire life had transformed. I was earning more money than I ever had before, doing work that felt meaningful and aligned with my purpose. My relationships had improved dramatically, and new, wonderful people had come into my life. My health was better than it had been in years. I felt more creative, more inspired, and more joyful than I had ever thought possible. But here's what I want you to understand. These weren't coincidences or lucky breaks. These were the natural result of aligning my words with my higher path instead of my current circumstances. Every blessing that flowed into my life was a direct response to the consistent speaking practice I had committed to. At the beginning of my spiritual journey, before I understood the power of words, I used to think that positive speaking was just wishful thinking or new age nonsense that might work for other people, but probably wouldn't work for me. I was skeptical about whether words really had any creative power, and I thought that focusing on problems and limitations was more realistic and honest than speaking about possibilities and abundance. But when I saw the results with my own eyes, when I experienced firsthand how dramatically my life changed when I changed my speaking patterns, I became a complete believer in the power of sacred speaking. I realized that I had been using this creative power all along, but I had been using it accidentally to create what I didn't want instead of consciously to create what I did want. Now, years later, I still practice these same speaking principles every single day. They have become as natural to me as breathing, and my life continues to unfold in ways that feel miraculous and abundant. Money flows to me easily from multiple sources. Perfect opportunities appear exactly when I need them. My relationships are beautiful and supportive. My health is vibrant. My work is fulfilling and impactful. I wake up every day feeling grateful, excited, and eager to see what wonderful surprises life has in store for me. I'm sharing this personal story with you because I want you to know that these principles are real and they work. I want you to understand that you have the same creative power available to you right now that I discovered in my life. You don't need any special abilities or unique circumstances to make this work. You just need to be willing to speak differently than you've been speaking and to stay consistent with your practice, even when you don't see immediate results. The speaking practice that transformed my life is available to you right now, in this moment. You can start today by choosing to speak words that align with your higher path instead of words that reinforce your current limitations. You can begin immediately to use your voice as a tool for conscious creation instead of unconscious destruction. Remember, your higher path is not somewhere you're going, it's who you already are at the deepest level of your being. You just need to start speaking like the abundant, blessed, guided person you truly are instead of speaking like someone who's limited by circumstances. When you make this shift, when you commit to sacred speaking as a daily practice, your life will transform in ways that will amaze and delight you. Every day presents you with countless opportunities to choose between speaking fear or faith, lack or abundance, limitation or possibility. Every conversation is a chance to use your voice to create more of what you want instead of more of what you don't want. Every word you speak is either building the bridge to your higher path or tearing it down. The choice is always yours, and the power is always available to you. Your voice contains the same creative force that spoke the entire universe into existence. Your words have the power to transform not only your own life, but also the lives of everyone around you. When you learn to speak sacredly, you become a beacon of possibility and hope for others who are still trapped in limiting speaking patterns. This is your invitation to step into your power as a conscious creator. This is your opportunity to merge with the abundance of your higher path through the sacred speaking practice that can transform everything. The words you speak today are creating your tomorrow. What will you choose to create? As we reach the end of our journey together through these sacred speaking principles, I want you to understand that this is not actually an ending. This is your new beginning. Everything you've learned today is not just information to collect and store away. These are practical tools that can immediately begin transforming your life if you commit to using them consistently. Your words have been creating your reality all along, whether you were conscious of it or not. The only difference now is that you understand how this creative process works, and you have the knowledge and tools to direct it consciously toward the abundant life your soul is calling for. You no longer have to be an accidental creator, hoping things will work out. You can now be an intentional creator, speaking your highest good into existence. The 4 sacred keys we've explored together: speaking your identity instead of your circumstances, using present tense instead of future hopes, expressing gratitude before seeing results, and replacing fear words with faith words. These are not complicated concepts that require years of study to master. They are simple, practical principles that you can begin applying immediately, starting with your very next conversation. The advanced speaking method of choosing your internal state first and then speaking from that chosen state rather than letting your circumstances determine your words is available to you right now. You don't need to wait until your life is perfect to start speaking perfectly. You can begin today, in whatever situation you're currently facing, to speak as someone who is aligned with their higher path. Remember that your higher path has been waiting for you to speak it into manifestation. All the abundance, love, opportunities, and blessings you've been hoping for already exist in spiritual potential. They're simply waiting for you to use your voice to call them forth into physical reality. Every time you speak words that align with your highest good, you're creating a bridge between the spiritual realm where your blessings exist and the physical realm where you can experience them. The transformation that's possible for you through sacred speaking is not limited by your current circumstances, your past experiences, or your previous failures. No matter where you're starting from, no matter what challenges you're currently facing, no matter how stuck you might feel right now, the power to create change exists in your voice. Your words can transform any situation, overcome any obstacle, and attract any blessing you need. But remember, this power requires consistency and faith. You must be willing to speak your spiritual truth even when your physical circumstances don't match yet. You must continue affirming abundance even when your bank account looks empty. You must keep declaring that everything is working out perfectly even when life feels chaotic. This is not denial or delusion. This is conscious creation using spiritual laws that govern all manifestation. The delay between when you start speaking differently and when you see physical results is natural and normal. Don't let this delay discourage you or convince you that the principles don't work. Use this time to strengthen your faith and deepen your practice. Every aligned word you speak during this delay period is working in the invisible realm to arrange circumstances for your highest good. Your speaking practice is not separate from your spiritual growth. It is your spiritual growth. Every time you choose faith words over fear words, you're developing spiritual maturity. Every time you speak gratitude before seeing results, you're cultivating divine trust. Every time you declare your spiritual identity instead of your temporary circumstances, you're embodying your highest self. This practice will not only transform your own life, but will also impact everyone around you. When you speak from alignment with your higher path, you give others permission to do the same. Your faith-based words create ripples of possibility that spread far beyond your immediate experience. You become a light that helps others remember their own creative power. As you move forward from this moment, carry with you the knowing that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a conscious creator of your reality. You are not limited by what has been, but empowered to create what can be. You are not separate from the divine creative force, but an expression of it, with the same power to speak new realities into existence. Your voice is sacred. Your words are powerful. Your speaking is a form of prayer that the universe is always answering. Use this gift consciously, use it consistently, and use it for your highest good and the highest good of all. The abundant life you've been dreaming of is not a distant possibility. It's a present reality that you can access through the power of your sacred speaking. Your higher path is not a destination you're traveling toward. It's a state of being you can embody right now through the words you choose to speak. Start today. Start now. Start with your very next words. Speak the abundance you want to experience. Declare the truth of who you're becoming. Express gratitude for the blessings that are flowing to you. Replace every fear with faith, every doubt with trust, every limitation with possibility. Your new life begins with your next word. Your transformation starts with your next sentence. Your merger with the abundance of your higher path commences with your commitment to sacred speaking. The power is in your voice, the choice is in your hands, and the time is now. Welcome to your abundant life. Welcome to your higher path. Welcome to the miraculous reality you're about to create through the sacred power of your words.